Welcome to Shadow Stories. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a comment with your city below. Who knows, maybe your town will be the next one we explore. They say that every 7 years, something dark awakens in the quiet town of Maplewood, and it's hungry for more than just memories. Imagine a town where, on the exact same night every 7 years, a child disappears without a trace. No witnesses, no evidence, just silence, as if they never existed. Locals say it's a curse, a sinister pattern that no one dares to break. But is it just an urban legend? Or is there something real lurking in Maplewood? Maplewood is like any other small town. Quiet streets, familiar faces, and a sense of community. But everyone who lives there knows about the 7-year curse. Every 7 years, on October 31st, a child vanishes. The pattern is so exact, it's become known as the Dark Night. It's a night when the air feels colder, when the usual laughter and celebration of Halloween is replaced by fear and locked doors. Parents huddle their children close, praying they won't be the next family the curse touches. The police? They've got nothing. Over the years, they've combed through every piece of evidence, questioned every witness, but there are no clues. It's as if each child disappears into thin air. The case files are empty, their pages haunted only by the eerie dates and the names of children that Maplewood has lost. In 1999, a girl named Clara was one of those missing children. Her family left town shortly after her disappearance, abandoning their memories and their grief. Years later, in 2019, a new family moved into Clara's old house. Their daughter, Emily, was about the same age as Clara had been when she disappeared. One night, while exploring her room, Emily found an old diary hidden under the floorboards. The cover was dusty, the pages yellowed with age, but the handwriting was clear. Tonight's the night. The air feels different, like something's watching. Mom and Dad say I should be fine, as long as I don't look outside, but I don't understand what they're so scared of. It's just Halloween. Kids in costumes, candy, pumpkins. But I keep hearing things, scratching sounds, like something's trying to get in. Emily was fascinated, but her parents brushed it off, telling her it was probably just a creepy story meant to scare her. But that diary became an obsession for her. She felt connected to Clara, and she couldn't shake the feeling that Clara's story wasn't just a tale. As Halloween approached, Emily started to notice strange things around her house. She would hear faint whispers at night, almost like someone was calling her name from just outside her window. One night, she saw a shadow moving in the backyard, but when she went to check, there was nothing there. It was then that she discovered that Clara wasn't the only one. 7 years before Clara, another child named David went missing, and 7 years before David, there was Marcus. Each disappearance happened exactly 7 years apart. Emily knew she couldn't ignore this. The more Emily dug, the more she uncovered a terrifying truth. All the missing kids had lived in the same area, and each of their homes shared a peculiar detail. Each house had an attic window that faced directly toward the old forest at the edge of town. The forest was dense, shadowed, and filled with old stories about supernatural creatures. The oldest part of the forest was home to a gnarled, ancient tree, a place locals called the Devil's Tree. According to legend, it was where the town's founders had made a pact to bind a dark entity called the Shadow Watcher, an entity that demanded a price every 7 years. Emily found old maps that revealed Maplewood had been built around this tree, almost like a protective circle. But over time, people forgot its significance. In her research, she found a journal from one of the town's founders. The final, ominous entry read, "We can bind him, but we cannot keep him. Every 7 years, he will return, and when he does, a soul must be claimed. Emily was horrified. The Shadow Watcher wasn't just a story, it was real, and it was still bound by an ancient pact. The disappearances weren't random, they were sacrifices, a dark agreement that the town's founders had made to keep the rest of the town safe. As October 31st approached, Emily's family urged her to stay home. They dismissed her warnings about the Shadow Watcher, saying it was just her imagination. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was going to happen. The night of October 31st was cold and unusually silent. The town's streets, typically bustling with trick-or-treaters, were eerily empty as families huddled inside, hoping to avoid becoming the next part of the curse. Emily had decided to confront her fears. She took a flashlight and a notebook, determined to document anything she could. She made her way to the forest, her heart racing with each step, the sounds of the night amplifying her every fear. As she approached the Devil's Tree, a thick fog rolled in, blurring her vision. The tree loomed before her, its branches twisting like claws. Suddenly she felt a presence, as if something was watching her, something ancient and malicious. The air grew cold, and she heard faint whispers growing louder until they became a low, menacing growl. She aimed her flashlight at the base of the tree, and that's when she saw it. A shadow, taller than any man, with eyes that seemed to absorb all light, staring straight at her. Emily tried to scream, but no sound escaped her mouth. She felt a pressure, as if something was trying to pull her into the ground. In a desperate attempt, she dropped her notebook and ran, not daring to look back. As she stumbled out of the forest, she felt the pull lessen, but the fear remained etched into her soul. The townspeople found her, wandering the streets, her face pale, her hair streaked with white, her eyes wide with terror. She never spoke of what she saw, but her silence told them enough. Emily never recovered from that night. People say she lost a part of herself to the forest, that the Shadow Watcher marked her, and now, every Halloween, she's seen standing by the edge of the forest, staring at the Devil's Tree. Some say she's watching, waiting for the next child, a warning to those who dare to question the curse. The town of Maplewood remains haunted by the past, each generation burdened by the weight of the curse. And the Shadow Watcher, it waits, counting down the years, patient as always. So what do you think? Is Maplewood just a town with a twisted history, or is there something lurking, waiting for its next victim? Comment your thoughts below and tell us where you're from. Who knows? Maybe your town has a few secrets of its own. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale from Shadow Stories. We'll be waiting in the dark. Subscribe to Shadow Stories for more chilling tales. Comment your city below. Will your town be next?